I want to encourage you today. I've worked with so many couples over the years, specifically the wives, but often my husband and I would meet with couples who were in great distress. And often the husband was caught in a horrible pornography addiction, or he had been a serial cheater, or he was abusive, or had a gambling or gaming addiction or whatnot. And it was a really, really challenging time in their marriage. And sometimes the wife would give up. And sometimes, honestly, I believe that God released wives from their marriages because he knew that the husband wasn't going to change anytime soon at all, and he was merciful to release that wife from just a pit of misery. But here's what I want to share. Often, as I look back on some of these troubled marriages, often God encouraged the wife to persevere, and she chose, it was a decision, she chose to persevere. She chose the road of endurance, to stay in it for the long haul, to treat her marriage like it was a marathon and not a sprint. And in a marathon, you know there are going to be some challenging times where you're climbing up a hill and you do not think you can make it to the top, but you press through, you persevere, you strive for that endurance, knowing that when you get to the other side, it's going to be worth it. And I can think of so many marriages, several come into mind right now. One where there was a serious pornography addiction, another one where a husband was a serial cheater, with prostitutes and the whole 9 yards, and yet the wife chose, it was a decision, to persevere, to press through. And boy, those marriages, they came out on the other side, and I know those wives would say right now, it was worth it. There are going to be hills in every marriage. Sometimes it seems like mountains, unclimbable mountains, insurmountable mountains in marriage. And yet, often if you will just hang in there, persevere, choose the road of endurance, it will be worth it. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to have to make some hard decisions. You might even have to separate for a time. But what if you were to choose to persevere? Listen to what Paul wrote the Colossians in chapter 1. He says, we continually ask God to fill you with the knowledge of his will through all the wisdom and understanding that the Spirit gives, so that you may live a life worthy of the Lord and please him in every way, bearing fruit in every good work, growing in the knowledge of God, being strengthened with all power according to his glorious might, so that you may have great endurance and patience. Ooh. What if you were to make the decision to both endure and to be patient in your marriage? And listen to what Romans 12:12 says. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. So that insurmountable mountain that you see in your marriage that looks like you just cannot climb it, what if you were to be joyful in hope and patient in affliction, and you were continually to pray for your husband and for your marriage? Fervently seek the Lord's help. Ooh, perhaps you will be one of those wives who will come out on the other side having endured and say, whew, it was worth it.